Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. So, I didn't get my notification up super early, and there's not a lot of people in, but that's fine. It's always been a little bit of a slow week, but I do still have some Emmys for you. Cupie's in first. You used to always be first, so we're back. Jumping ship. Jumping ship is going to slap himself a few times. Ooh, it is really quiet, isn't it? Futuristic. It's really quiet. Intrepid, Janice Windsor. Consciousness of Steel. That's the consciousness I'm trying to get, but the last few weeks I've been really spacey. I don't know what's up. It's like so hard to concentrate. I'm not sure why. My Fly, Pager, KDB. All right, now I feel a sneeze coming on. Always good timing. Linda Compton. My hair color changed, Shari D. It washes out, and so it just gets like less and less orange. My hair just doesn't keep the color that well, so then it turns like kind of blonde, and I haven't been keeping up with it. I got the new truck, and I've been working on the truck, and I haven't been working on the Eva. Anna Morabito's in. So, yeah, I'll get that hair dye. There's actually a lot of roots showing, but they're not that different from the hair color, the dye color, so you don't see it, but it's funny when you're on video, because, like, certain things don't show at all, and then other things, I don't know, like, if you ever watch TV and they do those when they like fix up the houses and stuff, there's all this little crap stuff they do in those shows that would look terrible if you were standing there, but you can't really see it on video. Did I see the square starfish? You know what? I'm a little behind on the comments, and so I scanned through them really quick to make sure I didn't miss any major Emmys. And the square starfish has been on, but I'll put it on again anyway. I got a tiny bit of world news to do. I'm going to just check because maybe there's more. There was only like a couple of rare sports last I checked. Yeah, those guys have been on. Like this, it looks like a, it looks like a breakfast food, doesn't it? What breakfast food looks like? There's those things that the toaster crunch things. They're hideous tasting. They've been selling them for like my whole life. I was shocked at how bad they were when I finally had one last year. It looks like those big toaster things they put in. Ugh. It's actually nicer looking than that though. But yeah, there might be a few more of these now than the last time I looked, and they've got more colors on them. Look at that. It looks like some kind of weird man-made tile. Bisker Seas. Oh, okay. So it's got a name now. Okay, because it was just like a weird morph. It was like a mutant one last I checked. So it's got a name now. Biscuit starfish. All right. So it is kind of an Emmy because last time we checked these, they did not have a name. I'm pretty sure. Biscuit starfish. Let me just find that. How do you spell biscuit? Star. Let me just see if they've got like an official designation now. It's a glowing bright red orange starfish with distinctive polygonal or polygonal shapes across its back. Okay, so Star. Okay, so basically they're getting more flat, and these count as square shapes. So all of these forms are all biscuit ones. You know, in my old timeline, you'd had like stuff looked more similar. It was only like dogs that had all that variation. And there was just a few of these, and they were considered a weird mutation. And nobody had two of them in their hand at once because there'd be one over here and one on some other part of the world. There's an interesting one. So it's almost like a species is forming from that mutation. And look at all the variety. Common biscuit starfish. So they're very biscuit-like. This is a square biscuit starfish from Australia. Okay, so yes, they have their own. The heck is that? Oh, it's just another starfish. They have their own variety now. Interesting. This is really interesting because we looked at this before. So yeah, Anne, good job. I was like, oh yeah, we've already covered those starfish, but they weren't a species then. Interesting. And these ones with these weird lumps on the end here. It looks so fake. It doesn't even look like a real animal. Looks like somebody made some art tile. It looks like a art tile refrigerator magnet. Doesn't that? I mean, if that was on the fridge, it would look right. And if you saw that in the ocean, you would probably assume that it was just a plastic fake. Ooh, look at that thing. Yeah, good job, good job. Okay, so there's aquacolor fish fush. I have covered that one. Actually, most of the years I'm like, yes, all good ones, but covered last year. That blue flesh fish was covered also. There may be more kinds of it, but there was multiple. Yeah, these. And they're ones people eat too. I think there's two kinds. Lingcods, yeah, it was one of them. There's another one too. Where the fish flesh rainbow comes. All right, now I've got to look at the rainbow one. Red, yellow, tuna. All right, well, red and orange aren't a big deal. Okay, so yeah, this is just lingcod again. Yeah, so most of those I covered, but I had not caught that the biscuit starfish was its own kind yet. Vacation Mandela Effect. Yeah, Divided We Fall had a comment on the channel the last week's, but I don't know that show, that movie called Vacation. I just didn't really watch it. I did actually comment to you that I hadn't watched it, so I don't know. Sorry, guys. Some of them were like the last decade's worth of movies. I haven't watched a lot of them anymore. So I'm not real good on those. Like, there's somebody who was always commenting on old rock music. I'm like, I didn't listen to old rock music back then, so I don't know if they changed. Just not my area of knowledge, sorry. Maybe an Emmy. Golden Graham's cereal. Graham's. Grahams. I'm pretty sure that was it for me. That was how it was. I'm quite positive it was not Grahms for me. Divided We Fall. It's from 1983. Vacation is, but it's not really like the kind of movie I like to watch. So even back then I didn't watch it. Sorry. I just like those corny comedies were just really not my deal. There's a few of them I watched. Some of the top ones I've watched just like a few. And I watch them once and I don't always pay that good attention. It's not like a show where I liked it and I watched it like lots of times and rerun and when I had nothing better to do and it was on cable, and so I just, and like those movies that I don't like that much, I'll kind of half watch them while I'm like doing something else, like homework and watching a movie at the same time. So I can't really comment on those details on those. Okay, so there's not a lot in the big C department world news. It's the same baloney, different day as far as I can tell. I didn't catch anything. I've been a little busy, so I haven't watched as much other people's channels as I have in the past. But there's one big one because I had one customer come to work to pick up some stuff, and we always chit chat. And she's like more and more on board with the Covey baloney. She really sees a lot, and she's really been studying. It's interesting to see some of the evolution of some people I know that didn't even want to talk about it. QP, oh yeah, I don't think you were here last time. I mentioned that last time that my car died completely and utterly, and so I bought this truck, which I love. It's an Xterra 4x, so I'm in love. It's the first time I've really bought something that wasn't 100% functional. I mean, it's not that it's not functional, but I didn't need, I don't, it's more fun. Some of it, like, is just because I wanted it, because I think it's cool, and I want to off road. I mean, I do kind of need a truck because I haul a lot of junk now, like boxes and stuff, but I mean, some of it's just a little bit of a, probably isn't justified totally to get that truck, but I love it because I finally got something I just like too. Uh, does anybody know why YouTube is only showing the last 2 hours of live videos? Okay, Shari, if they just, I don't know if this is exactly the problem, but if they just did a live stream and it went over 2 hours, the what comes up immediately is the last 2 hours, and then the earlier bit will get processed and put up there a little bit later. So if you just pounced on it, you may wonder why it's coming in at that time. But it should be that after a few hours, they'll get the whole thing processed and the whole thing will be up there. So if they just finished the live stream, this is normal. However, if it's been quite some time and they still didn't put the first 2 hours up, then that's fishy, but they may just be behind getting their processing. Curly chickens and curly pigeons, those have been on. Curly chickens and curly pigeons. Divided we fall. Yeah, I love that truck. I was looking at an FJ Cruiser, or not FJ Cruiser. FJ Cruiser, those. And yeah, they're another $10,000. So I was like, and they're really hard to find. I actually like the styling of the Xterra better anyways, though. It's now almost 40 hours and the beginning is not there yet. Okay, there's some kind of problem then. Yeah. You may just got screwed on that. That person just didn't get their stuff processed. Like, it shouldn't happen. I mean, if it happens once, then maybe it's just chance. But yeah, actually, it was kind of a weird thing today. I got a message that my super chat was what was it? What was the word? Not canceled, but suspended. That's the word. Super chat is like when somebody tries to give me money on here, and I was like, huh? So I went there, and I just spent forever clicking around, like why, because at first I thought maybe I got in trouble, like they didn't like something, because they've been kind of cracking down on people. Like, if you watch that guy Del Bigtree, who does a lot of world news. His channel was suspended and deleted, and according to YouTube, it was for violation of YouTube terms and services or something like that. Their standard baloney. So basically, all he does is get on there and say he doesn't trust the C story and the injection story, and so that's a lot of his channel. So that guy's gone. He does have his own channel, like his own website, but it doesn't look like he's really got it going because there's nothing on there. It's been like days, and I've thought that he would put up a video right away on his website saying what happened, and there's not a peep up there. So I don't know. It's happening for 2 videos, 2 different YouTubers. Oh, not so good. I'm going to have to keep mine under 2 hours, which I might be able to do. Yeah, I don't know. Either they're behind or something. Because, yeah, it shouldn't. Yeah, a few hours, it's usually up. I'll look into that later. But, I mean, maybe they're going to not get around to fully processing channels they don't like. Or maybe that'll all show up later. I don't know. things have been wacky. Sometimes I wonder how much is like side effects that are blamed on the cooties. I mean, is it some of it just reality, Mandela Effect, glitchy problems? Because there's been like the mail, okay, USPS, for some uncomprehensible reason, uh, the United States administration currently in charge of the country has decided that the USPS is using up too much money and they better raise rates and cut services right now if they plan to keep operating. And I'm like, really, right now, when they're already behind and shipping volume is crazy, and then they put all these new processes on them where they have to like social distance and all that, and then suddenly right now is the time to force them to make additional changes. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think that that makes any sense at all. Even if you want to reform the post office, maybe you should do it like next year once this stuff settles down or something. I mean, why right now? So what that means is like they've pretty much injured every business in the planet except for like Amazon and Walmart. But there's a few of us that haven't been hurt that bad because we ship for a living and we don't deal with the public. And so now they're going to injure us because now when I ship something out, sometimes it takes 10 days to show up at your door, where it used to take 3 days to show up at your door. And now I have all these crabby customers going, this is taking way too long. Where's my package? So I put all over my website, I'm so sorry. The post office is taking forever, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's people who ship international that have a lot of their business international, and they are so screwed because it's taking like almost 2 months for stuff to get like from here to Europe right now, and the other way. And there were actually people, I saw some channels thought that Europe was like blocking their packages because it just disappears off tracking for a month and you don't know what's going on, and then finally it shows. But I mean, how many people, most people who buy expect their package in a week or two, and when like 6 weeks pass and they don't have it, they're pissed. A lot of them just don't realize what's going on. So people who ship, who made their, like there's people like in India who basically make their money by shipping around the world. People in their own country can't afford their stuff, but people with the countries with more money, like me, would just buy that stuff, and they can't make a living now because they can't wait 2 months for their customers are not going to wait. So a lot of them have been driven out. So I'm a little worried about the post office. I'm just, I think people can adapt. And I'm hoping that maybe it'll sometimes when they have a lot of rapid changes, everything is totally messed up and then they kind of sort it out. But I'm not really happy. They pretty much, let's see, our post is taking weeks here too when things would only take days. Where's here? Is that UK? Let's see what you guys are chit-chatting about here. Da-da. Yeah, in that channel that's having the videos only 2 hours, I wonder, is it only like the less favored videos? The thing is, I don't really watch a lot of videos that are 2 hours long. I don't think I watch any that aren't sort of conspiracy like or something. I mean, like I watch cat videos and stuff, but they're not 2 hours long. So deja vu lately, not the normal kind where you just feel like you experienced something before. This feels like it's coming from a different reality. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna jump. Well, all right. I'm all over the place. I've complained about the post office. Janice Windsor, I would not say that I felt like my deja vu was from a different reality. I don't get a lot of deja vu. I never have. I think I've only really had it once. I'm weird that way. But things have been weird for me in some other ways, but I'm going to try to get back to that. Okay, so I'm going to get to the other world news thing. Like I mentioned, the post office, the timing on that. I mean, is it really like just to scare us, to hurt small business, or could it be that with all the shifting, it's complicated getting all the packages out? I don't know. Is it the timeline itself? Is it all of the above? I don't think it's any coincidence that right now the post office is getting all screwed up. And I've mentioned before that it seems like when things are really shifty, my computer doesn't work really well, and the internet doesn't work well. And I've got two different ISPs in two different parts of town working here, and they'll both do it at the same time. So it's like everything going in and out of my town then is screwed up at the same time, and it's right when I feel kind of sick and shifty, and I got shift sickness or whatever the heck that is that we get, all at once. So it's like the whole thing is all good. So I'm wondering, post office, and we've got the food deliveries, and they're blaming it on the processing plants. Is it deep state takeover? Is it shift? Is it all these? I don't know. So I don't know. There's so many things to think about. So here's the thing. My customer came over, and we're chatting about the sea, and we pretty much see eye to eye on this one. Oh, you're in Australia and your post office messed up. Yeah, and then they're saying that like all these people are out with the sea, but like every last person in my post office, and there's like two of them I use, they don't have nobody out with the sea. Nobody, I know one person who knows a whole bunch of post office workers, and she doesn't know, because she just retired. She doesn't know anybody who has the sea. She doesn't, there's, as far as they know, there's been no slowdowns with any out people, but they do have new processes, so that's slowing things down. And weirdly, they're saying mail volume's way down, but every post office worker I know says mail volume's way up and they're overloaded. So how could mail volume be? I don't know. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. So let's see. So Australia, same thing. I just weird. I don't know. Before the lockdown 2020, every single item I ordered was either missing, lost in transit, or delayed. Interesting, because that was before the lockdown. Yeah, see, and then this thing where everybody has to stay home, but then I'm not staying home because I got a ton of work to do. But I really do notice, like, there's something with my brain, and I don't think it's just stress, because I've pretty much, I've lived a pretty stressful life when I was a kid. My childhood was more stressful than this. And I've dealt with it. I actually stress less and less over it every week that goes by. But there's something weird with my brain where everything is just kind of, it's hard to concentrate. It's like I'm in like half asleep. I mean, is that part of why there's this lockdown? People can stay at home. They have everybody who's got to has an excuse for why they feel discombobulated. I hear it all the time. Well, I'm so out of it because, and they always have this reason for why they're out of it. Like there's just a long list of them. Things have been so confusing, blah, blah, blah. But it hasn't been that way for me. My life has not really changed significantly. And yet I still feel that, and I don't have a reason for it. So I just wonder, maybe it's, it's getting a little hard for reality to, it's got its fingers in too many pies. Maybe it is a little bit of a stretch even for the timelines to, maybe the processing power is getting a little laggy or something. I don't know. I'm totally flailing. I don't know, but it's something I did think of. Okay, so, sorry, my brain. All right, so my customer comes over and she's telling me she knows a family. She knows a lot of people because she's a hairstylist, and so she's mostly closed down now. But she also sells stuff on the side online. So she buys parts from me and she sells online. So she's coming in, and she this family she knows. So she knows this family personally. This is not like of a friend of a friend. They had somebody die recently of a non-COVID thing. She was elderly. She had one of the dementia illnesses, and it was long known that she was going to pass on, slow degradation. No There was no symptoms of C or anything. And she said that that family was offered $10,000 to say that it was a C death. And so I was trying to dig for more info, but she's not like me, like, well, I'm like, who offered her and what was the rationale and yeah, yeah, yeah. And she didn't have all those details. So there was kind of a limit to how much I wanted to pry. But and I can't 100% guarantee on this story because it's not personal by me. But in my experience, I have not caught her in any lies or anything. She's pretty straightforward. So I think that to best of her knowledge, she is saying the truth. That is my feeling on it. And so I was kind of looking for where this 10,000, like what's the rationale? There's got to be some kind of program or something that this is buried in if this is happening. If people are getting offered 10, and the family is poor, okay? So you can imagine, I mean, I used to be poor, and when you're poor, 10,000 is a lot of freaking money. Last week I was so tired I could hardly get out of bed. That was last week. Yes, I agree with you, Shari. I felt like crap. And I actually found that if I take a touch of prednisone, I feel a lot better. Unfortunately, I really shouldn't be doing that, maybe, but I don't know. Just a little bit, then get off. But I'm not a doctor. Don't follow me. Reality is not normalizing so easily, too much manipulation. I don't know. I agree in general. There's something whackdoodle. I think we may have to get through to the other side before things can settle down. Who is spending? Yeah, where's the money coming from? But where is all this freaking money coming from? I mean, I think that it almost has to be like some kind of supernatural power that the economy somehow is clacking along. People are still buying stuff from my store. It doesn't cost $500 to buy a sandwich. I mean, there should be some kind of epic inflation by now. I mean, where is this money coming from? How come the economy is I mean, you might watch the news and it sounds horrible, but from my perspective, things are fairly normal. I know some people that are hurting for money, yes, but there's people buying stuff. I don't see how. I don't see how that's happening. It's got to be like magic fairy dust holding up the economy. Or the economy never did run. The Matrix told us how the economy runs, but maybe the Matrix was lying. Just like the movie, when in the movie Matrix, human bodies can't be used for batteries, but it's the Matrix who told you, right? So how do we know how all this stuff runs? Are you aware of Randonautica? Are you talking about that Randonauts project where you like randomly go to places? Yes, I have done Randonauts. Randonauts is cool. And it's interesting. I really should do some more of those. They're fun. The first one kind of creeped me out. I ended up at the cemetery, so maybe that kind of spooked me a little bit. I think the quantum computer that's overlaying these different realities is starting to crash. I don't know if I would say it's starting to crash. I've been hearing that for years, and that's part of why it sort of washes over me now. It's holding together, but I think there's rapid changes. I think it's I still think it's controlled, though. They are still buying stuff because the government is paying the unemployed payouts. That is certainly true for Australia. Yeah, but where's the government getting that money from? I mean, if they're just printing it, then inflation should be insane. And, the value of money should shrink really rapidly. Because if you just keep printing money, then the value of each dollar goes down, 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 down. And somehow, for months now, every expert's like, oh, it's going to be a total disaster. But it still looks fine. It shouldn't. I mean, really, I just don't see how. I tend to think that we're basically in magic fairy dust land now. I mean, let's face it, if South America can just scoot over to, and Australia can just fly north and animals can just magically appear and your face can just grow higher cheekbones like in a few weeks, then I don't see why the economy can't be propped up by the same magic fairy dust. So I'm worried about it less. I will always normalize, just the normal may not be so logical. Yeah, things I think are going to be different. Brains operating different. Um, Banks are digital. There's no run on the bank like there was. Yeah, but you know what? I really do think magic fairy dust. I think we can rely on magic fairy dust more than we can rely on the economic concepts that we were taught. Anyway, just my opinion, could be wrong. Okay, so the $10,000, I'm like, well, I'm starting to look for like the amount of 10,000 because she seemed quite sure that it was 10 freaking thousand. So where do you get 10,000? So there was something in June where they were talking about giving families to 10,000, but it doesn't look like that legislation ever cleared. But yen, now I'm looking at this, like this EDL emergency advance. Okay. So now they might have a business. So that's the thing, cuz this EDL now is like some kind of assistance program, and the CARES Act expands it to businesses, private nonprofits, cooperatives, small businesses, sole proprietorships, independent contractors, and some other self-employed individuals are also eligible. So basically, if they have any kind of business, they could be eligible for this EIDL or almost any kind of business, even sole proprietorships. So here's the thing. Now, you can apply for this, but you might not get it, right? Because what if they decide that you're not eligible? But here's the weird stink bot on this one, okay, the CARES Act, blah, 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 70 billion, blah, blah. By applying for EDL, any eligible applicant will automatically receive an emergency advance on the loan up to 10,000. So there's that number, 10,000. So just by applying, before they even really process it, they give you 10,000. That's the advance. Now here's the stink bot here. Okay, while this payment is technically an advance, it explicitly does not need to be repaid even if the applicant is denied for their loan or chooses not to accept the full loan offer. The advance will be considered a grant. So this is kind of weird because if you get denied, then you probably weren't eligible, right? I mean, why would you get denied? But even if there must be, I guess, some minimal criteria, but I don't know. Maybe there's hardly any minimal criteria. You apply, they give out the 10,000. I'm not sure what criteria allows you to get the 10,000, but apparently, even if you get denied for your loan, you still would get that 10,000, and you don't have to pay it back. So if I apply and later they go, no, you're not eligible because maybe you weren't injured by COVID or whatever reason they decide I'm not eligible, I don't have to pay that 10,000 back. It's given to me. So you're almost just getting 10,000 just to apply. And here is the other thing. You apply and you get accepted for the loan, but then you decide not to accept the full loan offer. I mean, what if you decide not even to accept a penny of it? You'll still get the 10,000 and you don't have to pay it back, and it's considered a grant. So there's the 10,000 then, basically. So there's probably some kind of requirement to get the 10,000 put out, and it could be that the requirement is some kind of sea thing happened to you. So what if somebody important in the household died of the sea? Is that, hardship? Maybe that's where they're, I don't know all the details, but I can totally see how they could do this with this 10,000 that you don't have to pay back. So what is the contingency where they put out the initial 10,000? There is the question. So yeah, right there. I'm really curious if we'll hear more about this. I'm going to try to dig on this a little more. Let's see. In order to receive an EIDL emergency advance, eligible businesses must complete the EIDL application and self-certify their eligibility under penalty of perjury. The emergency advance of up to $10,000 will be automatically be made available to eligible applicants. All right, so there's eligible to get the $10,000, and then there's a different set of criteria to be approved for the whole loan. So things that are waived that would normally be required: a personal guarantee on advances and loans over $200,000, the requirement that applicants have been in business for more than 1 year. Oh, interesting. So you could say you've been in business for 5 minutes, or you could say you've been in business for 5 months, and they have no freaking idea because you haven't even filed any taxes and they have no evidence of your business. So that's waived. The requirement that applicants cannot find credit elsewhere. Oh, so you don't have to look anywhere else. The process is further expedited by allowing applicants to apply solely with a credit score rather than tax documentation. You can use the money for payroll, increase costs, making rent or mortgage, repaying obligations that cannot be met due to revenue loss. Okay, so repaying obligations that cannot be met due to revenue loss covers a lot of stuff. Okay, so, interesting. We have huge malls and they are empty. No tourists. Way too many malls. Yeah, same here. They're empty. I think they had to shut down again. They were only open a little while. Boy, if you were a store in there, you're screwed. You know, I really do hope that a whole bunch of people are just like NPCs, because I really hate to think that real humans are being screwed on the level that they're getting screwed. If a bunch of these people aren't NPCs, because there's all these small businesses everywhere, and I just hope that those aren't real humans. I really do. That's a sad and crazy thing to think, but the unemployment extra is gone, so the economy is going to tank even more. Well, you know, logically, you are 100% right according to everything the Matrix has taught us about the economy. But if the economy runs on magic fairy dust, then nope, that doesn't have to happen at all. So, I don't know, think about it. It's not any weirder than South America moving. And maybe the economy did really run on economic principles 20 years ago. That doesn't mean it does now. Anything could happen, I think. I really do. I think anything can happen right now. But yeah, I think that, it just ended this July that the extra payment ran out. My most shocking geological ME is the city of Charlotte has shifted almost all the way to Tennessee. Yeah, well, you know, Sacramento used to be in the middle of California. Now it's way up north. I don't recognize the far north of California. I used to live what was the far north, but now those locations are in the freaking middle. Oh, California is weird up there. All the time I'm seeing these new cities in California that I've never heard of. So yeah, it's kind of creepy. I don't know what's new in the Mandela Effect world. Okay, so on to the Mandelas. Should we start there? No. Well, I'll start that one. All right, I'll give a simple one to start with. This one is from John Austin. I don't know if you remember the battleship, the famous battleship called the Bismarck. If you remember how to spell it. How do you spell Bismarck, the famous battleship? It did change for me. It's got one new letter than I remember. All you wartime history buffs, if there are any here. There's not that many people today. And this is the one after. All right, so the Bismarck change, that is John Austin. This is one I found actually for last week, but my little scrap of paper did not make it in a timely fashion onto my clipboard, and I forgot to include it. But apparently there is another Nazca lines that has long been known about since 1932. The Nazca lines aren't the only lines. Now, I've covered before that there's more Nazca lines like in Nazca, just a little bit further away than Nazca. But now there's this whole other one called Sajama lines. And supposedly they've been known since 1932 of western Bolivia. So they're not near the Nazca lines. Now, they don't have a bunch of animals and stuff yet, but this is, I think, kind of new. Look at, like, the wiki is pretty tiny. Network of thousands of, possibly tens of thousands of nearly perfectly straight paths etched into the ground, continuously for more than 3,000 years by the indigenous people living near the volcano Sajama. They form a web-like network that blankets the Altiplano. Recent research revealed that this network of lines covers an area 22,000 blah blah square kilometers, approximately 15 times larger than the area covered by the Nazca lines in Peru. Roughly 3 times the breadth of the United States. Their largest archaeological site in the Andes and might be considered the largest artwork in the world. Yet you've never heard of them, or probably haven't. I had not heard of them until last week. All right, so they're the usual way of creation, scraping vegetation and the dark surface material, exposing the lighter subsurface. How the makers achieve such precision are completely understood, nor how it is not understood. All seem to retain a remarkable straightness, despite rugged topography and natural obstacles. The earliest account of Sajama lines in English is a brief reference by traveler Aimé Félix Chiffelet in 1932. The same decade, some dude brought the lines and associated structure to the attention of scholars when he published ethnographic fieldwork about Aymara and Chipaya people. 1970s, British writer Toni Morrison reported on this network of sacred lines. The Landmarks Foundation work with blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you get it. They're old. They're huge. You would think that at least one documentary might include a tiny little tidbit of these 10 times bigger than the Nazca lines thing in. But yet I have never seen this. So, yeah, actually, I should just... Here's the map of the little chiclets. It's not very useful, is it? I should probably put a few images up. So yeah, not animals yet. I would not be surprised if this develops. I think it's pretty new. So it looks a lot like lot like Nazca minus. This one's interesting. Minus the animals. So that one looks like it's something spitting out like a triangle. There's the Sajama lines there. Look at how straight that one is. So just taking a couple of images. Keep an eye on these. I think we're going to see more out of this Sajama business, or maybe another batch of lines popping up. Ooh, what's this? I don't remember that horsey. Let me just click on that. Is that in Sajama? Mozilla not responding. Come on, come on. That might have been a mistake clicking on that one. Hopefully you guys are still getting me. Because it's frozen. I have no idea if the signal is still going. Somehow the computer usually preserves my signal somehow. Yeah, see it? Yeah, it's still catching me. It looks a little choppy, but... Look at, I get tired and then I sag down. I line up the computer for when I'm awake. Okay, Firefox, you could do it. Come on. Boink. I wonder if this side's working. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Oh, come on. I wonder if I kill that one. I really don't want to reboot the computer. Close program. See if I can fix it by closing Firefox. Don't care about that. Reboot. Yes, it's always a bunch of fun. No updates, please. Uh-oh. Well, oh, there it is. They're all there. Looks good. Aha! It's a miracle. Something worked. All right, let's click on something else besides Atlas Obscura. This looks like the same guy. Well, that says it's in Oxfordshire, so maybe this might be a thing that it's like 10 different places and one of them Sajima. Chalk Horses of England, have not heard of that. All right, you UK people, do you know anything about the Chalk Horses of England? Is it old or new? All right, I think we've covered Sajima anyway. We've covered this fishy business on there. Okay, so this one is from user or commenter on the channel called Official Nutmeg Channel. Kind of an interesting username. So, forehead region. I'm going to go back to the Bismarck now, but forehead region. Anything different you guys notice up there? Because that person, Official Nutmeg Channel, did notice something. And when I looked, I do kind of notice something in here. All right, let's get the live stream up and running so I can see what you guys are up to. I'm going to go back to the Bismarck because it's just like one of those stream of consciousness kind of days. All right, so I remember the Bismarck being spelled Bismarck, the Bismarck. But you will see now, I don't even type that it's a battleship. And it's got a C in it now. The German battleship Bismarck with a C. So yeah, I call Mandela on that one. Why was the Bismarck so famous? Famous battleship. I actually think that might be a little bit older, like a few months, because I think I saw that at least a couple weeks ago. So everything is now with a C. With all the Bismarcks I'm finding, I'm really not finding anything with a K. I mean, I'm sure that it's out there, but see, I'm auto-corrected to the C version. Now, if I actually force the K, you get other stuff. Bismarck bisulfite. There is a Bismarck Germany, interesting, without the C. So yeah, there's a city named after it, but that's about it. So yeah, I call Mandela on that one. Let's see what you guys are up to. Um, what happened to the chat? I don't see it. Chit chat. No. Still live. That's a good sign. Where's my chat? I don't see it. Open widget? Nope. That ain't it. That's new. It always was just magically there. Stream status good. Well, I'm confused. They changed some stuff earlier. I was having some problems getting on. And you guys, even if you knew, you couldn't tell me because I can't see. All right, let's try there. That should do it, right? This should be it. That's not good. Okay, I have no idea where it went to. Classic streaming? We'll try that. Go to live control room. Just when you figure it out, they move around the furniture. Oh, that looks familiar and it already didn't come up. No. Yes, this is a quality show of expert functionality. All right, I'm just going in circles now. View on watch page. Try that. Dope. There it is. There's the old one. You need some of those fairy dust. I don't know. There might be the magic fairy dust everywhere. Maybe the whole universe is being held up by it. All right, Shari D remembers with just 1K. Otto von Bismarck. Now his name's changed to the C. There's a freaking Bismarck. I don't know what that word is in Berlin, and it has changed too. Yep. Okay, so a lot of people do remember it with a K. The White Horse is the first and only one I remember. Oh, all right. Let's just take a peek at those. Why not? Why not be curious? White horses of UK. Chalk horses. White chalk horses. Because what the heck? I've never seen those things before. Carved into the chalk grassland just below the site of Brattam Camp, Iron Age hill fort in Wiltshire. The Westbury White Horse was originally cut in late 1600s. Legend suggests it was created to commemorate King Alfred's victory at the Battle Eudon here in 878. England's 7 most intriguing chalk figures and stories. Okay, so there's more than one horse. So I guess it's all chalk under there, and they just scrape away the shrubbery, and then there's horse, there's white, And so everybody's just been scraping all these years. Longman of Wilmington, East Sussex. I'll try not to kill your names of your places too badly, but I probably will anyway. One of two human hill figures in England is a popular gathering spot for neo-pagans. 235-foot figure was cut in the 1700s. Okay, you remember that? It looks very modern, doesn't it? Horsey, horse, Wiltshire. If any of you people are from any of these areas, chime in. Osmington, White Horse, Dorset. Sculpted into the limestone hills north of Weymouth. In 1808, the Osmington White Horse's depiction of King George III riding his famous steed. So did this guy have a famous steed? The figure is shown riding out of Weymouth, suggesting he wasn't welcome, something that aggravated the king, so much so he never returned. They carved a whole thing of him in the hillside, and he's just crabby about the direction it was pointing? Seriously? Uffington White Horse, Oxfordshire. Despite being very modernist in design, the Uffington White Horse near the town of Wantage is in fact the oldest chalk-cut hill figure in Britain. Experts suggest it's over 3,000 years old. Make sure you also check out Wayland's Smithy, a Neolithic tomb located nearby. So it looks very new, but it's supposed to be the oldest. This is backwards land. Okay. Bulford Kiwi, Wiltshire. Oh my gosh. Arguably the most out-of-place chalk figure in the hills of England, the Bulford Kiwi was cut into Beacon Hill in Bulford by New Zealand troops waiting for a ship to take them back home after the First World War. When the disaffected soldiers threatened a riot, the commander kept them busy carving the kiwi. It is still visible today. I don't see how it would be still visible unless somebody is out there, like, cleaning it. I mean, you don't just scrape away all the grass and it never grows back. You'd have to keep going out there. The stories behind these are kind of weird. I don't know. I mean, really, right after they carved this, wouldn't the local neighbors go, well, that's stupid, and stop maintaining it? Kilburn White Horse, Yorkshire. Okay. The largest and most northerly hill figure in England, the Kilburn White Horse, was carved into chalk by a local resident that had been inspired after visiting the White Horse in Uffington. On a clear day, the horse is visible from Leeds, 28 miles away. Who's maintaining these things? Look at, they're all sparkly. Cern Giant, Dorset. He's got parts. Also known as the Rude Man. I've seen this one. This one I saw maybe 6 months ago. Not before that. Now, I thought it was really new when I saw that because it looks really new. Let me see when they said it. It is more likely that it is only 400 years old. Okay, new meaning like 4 years old, not 400 years old. With top layer of chalk even younger. The giant was re-chalked in 2008. Only in 2008? What the heck? Why doesn't this stuff grow back? I mean, this is kind of weird. I don't. Do you guys understand how this works with these things? Because, okay, modern times, like locally, there's a hill that the city I live in, they take the first letter of the city and they add chalk to the dirt, and there's like a hill with that letter, and they chalk it. Like, it's actually something that the high school, I believe, does every year, is they add chalk and maintain. And every year they maintain it. And if they don't maintain it, it degrades rapidly. The chalk kind of, rinses away and stuff. They got to maintain this baloney. And weeds grow up pretty quickly. Now, UK, you guys get crap loads of rain. How could they only re-chalk this in 2008 and it's 2020 and it looks like this? Is there something I'm not understanding about how UK soil and weeds operate? Because the impression I'm getting is that this chalk is naturally under here. So this weeds and stuff are growing on this chalk. I don't see how they wouldn't just like slurp on over, even a millimeter a year and this all be gone. So how can they rechalk it only in 2008 and it looks, and some of these okay, so it was done in World War II. Who's maintaining it all this time? I mean, aren't people like worried about food and stuff, or they're out here scraping on some old horse that some idiot soldiers put in, or some Kiwi? Oh, kind of sounds weird to me. I mean, am I missing something? Maybe I am. Maybe I don't understand the UK mindset, but seems kind of weird. All right, where'd it go? The White Horse is the first and only one I remember. It's in England. You should use Google Chrome. It's better than Firefox. I don't know. Everybody says Chrome has like terrible security and steals all your data. That's why I never did Chrome. I mean, maybe it is more stable, but I don't know. It's probably all crooked anyway. I had a best friend with the last name Bismarck, and that's how I know about it. In the old song, Bismarck. There's a strange connection, Mandela, between Florida and California. For example, I could swear Malibu Beach was one time in Florida, and other obscure examples, but I think a few can see them. I kind of thought Malibu was in Florida too. Where is it now? Malibu Beach. Malibu, is a city west of Los Angeles. Wide and sandy Zuma Beach. To the east is Malibu Lagoon Beach. I don't know. I mean, there's been enough weird stuff. I can't say anything's impossible. I'm not sure on that one, though. Go into the satellite map like BLVK Goo Earth and look up Hey 247 and Aberdeen and Landers. Look on the hillside. All right. Let me see if I can get Google Earth to work. Do I even know how to do that? I don't think I do. I don't know how to type in, get rid of this. Look up Hey 247 in Aberdeen. Hey 247 in Aberdeen. What the heck is Hey 247? In Landers, California. There might be a faster way to do this. Let me just type it in Google and see if somebody else has done it. Oh, Highway 247. All right, I think that's what we're talking about. All right, that's not it. I mean, this is a thing, then there should be other people who already screenshotted this. Shouldn't there be? Or not. All right, I'll try it. It just takes an hour for that to boot, that's all. Even the movie Sinking of the Bismarck has changed. Well, it makes sense that usually the Mandela is... It rarely leaves anything really obvious behind. Some guy from England came out here and built a strange landmark thing. Landers, California. Old woman, landmark, Landers. All right, let me try that. Shouldn't there be an image of it on here? You would think that if some thing has been carved out for any amount of time in landers, all right, I think that's called a geoglyph. Landers, California. Yucca does not look like an old woman. Launch Earth. You know, I can't find it, and I think there's a good chance that Google Earth's going to crash my computer, so I'm not going to hunt that anymore unless you know what the name of it is. I mean, unless it's this. I don't know. I think Atacama. What is that? Do I remember seeing that? I don't think I remember seeing that before. Atacama. I don't think I remember seeing this either. Atacama Desert. All right, we're off on another one. Let's see. I come with like nothing today, and look what happens. South America. What is it famous for? It's famous for crowding and dry weather. Chile. All right, so what's up with the bunch of Nazca looking stuff over there now? Oops. All right, backwards. All right, let's get specific. We want to know about that guy. The geographic art of Chile's Atacama Desert. More than 5,000 geoglyphs. Okay, so Nazca is like boring old news now. We've got one location with lines 10 times bigger than Nazca. And look at all this cool stuff at Atacama Desert. Have been recorded in the Atacama Desert of northern Chile over the past 30 years. Because, yeah, we didn't have air flight before 30 years ago. The geoglyphs of the northern Chilean desert. All right, so the best known are the Nazca lines, but the Chilean glyphs in the Atacama Desert are far more numerous and varied in style, cover a much larger region, and were built between 600 and 1500 AD. Both the Nazca lines and the Atacama glyphs had multiple symbolic or ritual purposes, while scholars believe that the Atacama glyphs additionally had a vital role in the transportation network connecting the great South American civilizations. Aha! So, we've got two more Nazca lines. We've got Atacama, and then we got that Sajama. I'm going to write Atacama. Geoglyphs. This is the kind of way I find Mandelas, because I'm looking at one. Oh, wait, what that? I just haven't had as much time for it this week, and so that's probably part of why I have fewer Emmys. But frankly, though, 2 out of 3 weeks I hardly do any of that, and they smack me in the head. So it's still a little slow. So we'll take a quick gander at what we got here. Geoglyphs. Okay, so Pudgy guy with arms out. You got a better one? I think that's the same guy. Okay. I think that's this guy. What's all this stuff? So they're supposed to be far more numerous and varied. Looks like almost lettering there. Oinks. I'm not seeing a ton of them. I think we're going to... Oh, look at that. Those are... Each one of those, I think there's like some kind of llamas, some hunter dudes. Looks like some bow and arrow guys and people carrying a big long branch stick thingy. One of those guys looks way bigger than the rest of them. That's kind of a weird concept right there. Let's see, are we going to get what those are? All right, so they said there's more numerous and varied, but I'm not seeing a ton of images. Tili Vici geoglyphs on hillside Atacama Desert. Tili Vici. Some kind of animal? Pudgy person. Oh, so there's a... What is that? Arrow. There's a bunch of neat geoglyphs here. This bears. All right, so what's that supposed to be? You know, when I just vaguely looked at it, it kind of looked like a helicopter. But then I really looked at it, it didn't at all. Is this going to turn into something? So I'm not seeing a ton of them yet. That looks... Some of these look really modern. Atacama Giant. Have you ever heard of the Atacama Giant? I mean, there should be like t-shirts with that and stuff. That's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to just click on it and see. Okay, and what's this? I'm going to just click on this giant and see if they have any wiki information for this one. On Cerro Unitas in the Atacama Desert, Chile. 390 feet tall, represented a deity for the local inhabitants. The figure was an early astronomical calendar for knowing where the moon would set by knowing the day. Look at how short that wiki is. One of nearly 5,000 geoglyphs, ancient artworks that are drawn into the landscape that have been discovered in the Atacama in the last 3 decades. So, carved by several cultures, including Tiwanaku and Inca. Oh, Inca. Huh. All right. Cool. There's always more Mandelas. Oh, I'm getting sleepy all of a sudden. Eva, sick of my free money. Futuristic, you're sick of your free money? You can always send it over here. Did you demonetize your channel? No, but, you know, I was talking about the sea so much that I just took the monetization off of a lot of my recent live streams because they're just going to demonetize them anyway if you talk about the sea. And then, like, the last few, I put it back up, and I don't know. It keeps changing settings, and half the time I'm too lazy to fix it. So you might not see any... And then there was some where it was asking me all this stuff, and by the time I answered it all, it said I was only eligible for a tiny amount of monetization. So you might come on there, and then it won't run any... It won't run any commercials or not. I don't know. Oh, okay. That's what you meant by Eva sick of free money. Okay. Are you saying the super chat's not working? Because I thought I fixed that this morning. I don't know. I'll try again later. I thought I fixed it, and then it didn't say it was fixed, but I thought it hadn't like clicked in yet because I got a notification saying it was fixed. So I don't know. As far as I remember, this is chalk and it goes deep so no plants can grow there. But then how are all the neighboring plants growing? Because it's growing on the chalk. I mean, if you scrape dirt away, wouldn't dirt from the neighboring ones eventually, in a course of a couple of years, like roll over the top and stuff? I mean, I've got weeds growing in freaking concrete. I don't think it takes that much, especially with all the rain you guys get. I mean, lately there's a lot of stuff on Reddit that like people have plants coming up in the middle of their living room. The plants are so greedy now. Like they somehow push up between some crack in the foundation. All of the giant footprints and rocks now. Yeah, there was just one weird one, and now you hear about it all the time. There's all these, oh, it's impossible because that didn't live then, and blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, this is right near where I live. The Badlands Guardian, never heard of it, like a Native American head in the topography of the land. Okay, the Badlands Guardian. Now we got something we can type into a Google. The Badlands Guardian. Yeah, there was only a few of these petroglyphs, and they were really famous. Oh, okay, so is this one of those... we're not sure if it's real or not, or just imagining things. That's interesting. I saw this before, but it didn't have this earring part. It's like it's slowly looking more and more Indian looking. You could still argue it's just chance, but is there even such thing as chance anymore? I don't know. This one might be growing into something that you could say was native. It might be fun to keep an eye on that one. So they're basically saying it's this, but what you see is this. Yars. You should have heard about it, though. I mean, if you're a local. Even if it's just to laugh at stupid visitors. It's called Rhythms of Life, Yucca Mesa. Okay, that's the old woman one carved by the UK dude. Rhythms of Life, Yucca Mesa. Images. Oh, okay. All right. So that is that. Some kind of weird art thing. How long was it supposed to have been there? All right, let's try wiki. I don't want to go to Atlas Obscura again because that crashed my computer. All right, let's try Desert USA. That one usually doesn't crash my computer. Home to many... see, I live in Southern California. I've not heard of this. Trying to see how old it is. Artist Andrew Rogers chose Black Mesa, 5 miles north of Yucca, to build this gigantic land art. So is artist Andrew Rogers the crazy UK dude? Okay, so he's stacking rocks. Stacking stones. It doesn't give the date when he did it. It definitely looks very modern, but you can't tell anymore. You know, what is obnoxious is they don't give the date. All right, let's try road trippers. If nobody gives a date, that alone is a little suspicious. Okay, installed in 2008 in the world-renowned Australian, by the world-renowned Australian sculpturist Andrew Rogers. It's kind of funny because There does seem to be a confusion between the Australian and the UK accents around here. So sometimes we aren't sure. Sometimes it's really obvious when somebody's from the UK, but some of them are a little. So when somebody said some UK did it and it turns out to be an Australian, I have to kind of laugh. Okay, we can get rid of that one. Giant flying boats. You guys are keeping me on my toes today. Okay. So much for keeping it under 2 hours. A flying boat is a fixed. Okay, I've heard of those, but I don't think I've heard of like a giant flying boat. What happened to giant flying boats? I mean, I've seen the little boats. Whatever happened to giant flying boats? The giant flying boats of the Golden Age. All right, guys, you guys win the awards because you guys are coming up with them. The Golden Age. Is that like Tartaria or what? In the 1930s, huge aircraft flew tiny numbers of passengers around the world in fantastic luxury. This was truly the golden age of flight. Competition between rival giants of the early commercial aviation world resulted in some truly astounding flying machines as early as the 1920s, just a few short decades from the Wright brothers' inaugural flight. So, the machines traversed the globe and established far-flung networks that would bring the world closer together than ever before. The giant flying boats. Biggest and best aircrafts. The first Pan-American had unique vision, blah, blah, blah. Weird. Yeah. Yeah, I've never heard of that. I don't know what to say. Life is weird. I have lived here all of my life and not heard of it once in 52 years. Okay, you're talking about that one that looks Native Americaniferous but could be just natural. When did I see that? I saw that about a year ago, but it didn't look quite as prominent when I first saw it. So yeah, nobleness, D, I agree with you. I never heard of those giant flying boats. Nor did Armor Up. I think there's a good chance that it is an ME because we've seen flight go backwards in time. It seems a bit much for me to think that like 2 decades after the Wright brothers, we have these giant flying boats, luxury boats all over the world, network, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I can't say it 100%, but it is very suspicious. And it fits with what we're seeing. People from West Australia sound very English. Yeah, what happens too is people come here and they lose a little of their accent, so it's starting to Americanize. So the accent gets lighter, and as it gets lighter, it's harder to tell apart. Also, I think that. So it's usually the confusion is usually people who have been here a while. Do you guys remember when Scarab Performance showed an air balloon and it looked like a giant flying butt? I have not seen all the videos. So that's my excuse. I don't remember it, but I remember the Spruce Goose, Howard Hughes giant boat plane. Let me just click that thing. I remember that name. I don't remember it being. Let me just see how it looks. Images. Okay, so this was one of them giant flying boats, I guess. I don't remember it quite being that big. I just remember it being like way littler than that, just more of an ordinary sized plane. I mean, I definitely remember the name Spruce Goose. I don't remember it needing a giant hangar, for instance. That's not helpful at all. Yeah, it's huge now. Okay, interesting. Yeah, just shrink that down like about 10 times. And that's what I remember the spruce goose being, like tiny, like just an ordinary. Look at it's huge. It ate its vitamins in this timeline. So yeah, name same, size quite different. Yeah, I just remember it being a little bigger than the others. I really just don't remember it being that big. All right, I cry uncle on that one. All right. I don't know if this is a Mandela, but it's funny and it's weird, and I don't remember it. Um, no one ever made one big as his boat ship. All right, let's see. Eva remembers it being like the sea duck on DuckTales cartoon. Well, not that small, but all right. Was the spruce goose the biggest? Let's see. Was the spruce goose the biggest? Because I bet there's bigger ones. All right, so it wasn't the it was the world's largest plane, but not as, let's see. What plane is bigger than the spruce goose? Let's go with that. All right, so a recent one is larger in 2017. The Strato launch. Did the spruce goose ever actually fly? At one time, the largest aircraft ever built is piloted by Howard Hughes on its first and only flight. He personally tested cutting-edge aircraft of his own design. See, that's weird because I just remember it being more of a like Playboy kind of thing. Not that it only flew once. Interesting. Okay, so do you guys remember the time in 1998 for you who are not super young, when this is from Live Oak, commenter on the channel, and like I said, I can't swear this is now me, but it's one of those things where you kind of wonder why you never heard about it. Do you remember the time when Sony accidentally launched camcorders that could see through people's clothes? Because it just seems to me like I might have just heard of this. And this kind of fits in with that mask thing that I was talking about, where the new video cameras using infrared could see through the clothes. So I'm not going to pull up the images, but if you do, you will see that it basically looks like you've got a really thin t-shirt on that's white and somebody wetted it down. I mean, like, you see through that much. And even with dark clothes, if the material is thin, like a t-shirt, like is thin, you can see through. So people look, 2/3 naked with this this camera they came out with. How did nobody notice this business? Sony accidentally. So Live Oak just mentioned it offhand, and I don't know. There's so many weird things with the camera stuff. And that was a long time ago. Do you remember this infrared vision being so easily obtainable that they could accidentally make a camera that saw through your freaking clothes? In 1998, when Sony accidentally launched camcorders that could see through clothes accidentally released a night vision camcorder that they had the ability to see through people's clothes. The situation was discovered by Greg Hunter, who demonstrated the same with the help of 2 volunteer models. So apparently there's these famous images of these 2 volunteer models, and you could see really quite a bit right through. I'm not going to put it up because that would so get me in trouble with the YouTube. So supposedly they sold 700,000 of them until somebody, oops, they're almost there, noticed and complained, and then they recalled them. Yeah, like I'm sure a whole bunch of people returned them, not. And then after that, apparently they sort of hid the feature, but there was ways to alter it so it would still do the same old thing. There might be ways to do it now too. I don't know. Fishy. Okay, now I'm going to just talk about weird stuff lately, like this week. Because in the danger of sounding like I've totally lost my freaking marbles, I am going to sally forth with the insanity. So, a couple days ago, I don't know how to describe this. I saw, this one is explainable, but then the next day, another weird thing happened. I saw this weird light, and I'm like, okay, it's just a guy with a flashlight. But then the more I looked at it, the weirder, this is at night, so I just see this light. And I'm trying to figure it out, and I finally figured out it was like somebody with but it was like the more I looked at it, the more erratic it got. I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe. So it was somebody with a headlight on, and he's going like this, and it's like midnight, okay, because sometimes I leave work really late, and there's nobody out there. And this guy, I don't know. I mean, maybe he was just on drugs. I don't know. But then the next night, in kind of a similar area along the same road, and I had totally forgotten about crazy drug light guy, this animal runs out in the road, and again, there's nobody around, and I could not identify this animal. It looked like a double-sized tall rabbit that it kind of hopped, but it kind of more was like a pouncing cat, but it was too tall, and then it had like a cat tail, but then suddenly cut off, and it was sticking straight up, and then it looked like there was kind of a raggedy split on the end of the tail, like suddenly it went like that. It was all brown, a weird brown color, not really tawny. It was browner than a coyote. It was not a coyote. I've seen a lot of those. It was a little too small for a coyote. Didn't walk right. I don't know what that was. It actually moseyed out into the road in front of me. I thought I might hit it, and then it turned around and went back. So then I didn't hit it because it didn't sprint out. It didn't freeze. Even the movement was weird. I don't know what that animal was. This is the second really weird animal I've seen. The first one I got a really good. I talked about the black-faced ferrets before, so I won't go into that. But I don't know what that thing was. I don't know. So it's been a kind of a weird week, and there's been a couple other things like my eyes are almost like my mind is almost. Okay, so an example, I wanted to take an aspirin, and there was a bottle of, like, a lot of times I don't really pay attention whether it's ibuprofen or what, because they all are kind of similar. And I wanted to take an aspirin, though, that day because I wanted an anti-inflammatory. And I know aspirin is good that way. It's, like, really good for anti-inflammatory. So there's a bottle of some painkiller there, and I'm like, I really hope this is aspirin because I'm too lazy to go and get the aspirin or figure out where it's at. And then I look at it and it says ibuprofen. I'm like, oh, bummers. It's ibuprofen, forget it. And then I go to myself, I really hope it's aspirin though. And I look again and it says aspirin. I'm like, am I losing my freaking mind? I don't know, but I swear to God, I said it. I thought it said ibuprofen. So I don't know, I don't know if I'm getting dementia or everything is just total whackdoodle or I made my own reality. I don't know, but there was a couple things like that, just dumb little things like I swear it said that. So I'm sure every skeptic in the universe can just, shut up. But I know it doesn't look good. If this is not like some spiritual whackdoodle stuff, then I will probably be like down with Alzheimer's in a year because I don't know what's going on. My mind is just. All right, got that one. All right, that thing on the front, the thresher shark. That was from Mark Tyus. Good find, Mark. I really thought your name had an R in it, to be honest. Mark, Tyrus is how I remember it. I don't know if you changed it or you never had the R. This is another one I can't say 100%, but I do really remember an R in there. So that was a little confusing. Anyway, the thresher shark. I think I've commented on this before that the tail was getting a little longer. I mean, it had a little bit of a long tail. Like the top fin was kind of long. And then the last time I commented on it, it was getting longer. But now it looks like it's longer than a kangaroo. I mean, this is freaking long. And there's 3 kinds of these now. Look at that. I mean, come on, people. So there's 3 kinds of them. Pfft, really? How long is it going to get? And there's a whole story now. So they can they whip their tail. Psh, they whip it so fast that it causes a shock wave and like stuns the fish. So they take their tail and go psh, and like smack the crap out of these fish. They move so fast the fish don't have time to get out of the way. And they smack them with a shock wave, not just with their tail, but with the shock wave force. And that's how they hunt. So that's a newbie, because when they just had the little sort of long tails, it was a different thing. The other thing is they can jump like freaking flying fish now. I don't think I remember this business. Look at how high. There's so many things that can just fly out of the air. So, I mean, really? It's like a half kangaroo, half shark. Please. Look at that. He looks like he's... That looks so freaking ridiculous. Look at that. Have you ever seen that before? Would you ever forget if you saw that? It has grown at least a couple feet since the last time I've looked at that tail. And that jumping business, I don't think so. There was one on here where it was all wiggly. The tail was all... I was like, is it going to be a tentacle? Pretty soon it's going to like reach up and like and just catch you like a giant tentacle and go whoosh. Where was that image? There was one that was really hilarious, but it had writing all over it, so I didn't want to use it Didn't want to use it. Dum, dum, dum. Oh, now I don't see it. Of course not. So anyway, I called phony baloney on that tail, the kangaroo tail shark. That is so wrong. Look at that tail. It's like half tail. It's half shark, half tapeworm now. Anyways, yes, good find. There's a human with one. I mean, really? That one gave me a good laugh. Really did. Shoot, I can't find that funny one now. So there's 3 kinds, so I'm betting they're going to say that like one of them's got a way longer tail. Yeah, sure. Darn it, I can't... What is the Google algorithms change every 5 minutes? I was just checking this like an hour ago. Well, I was checking it at like 10:30, a few more than an hour. All right, I already got the biscuit starfish. I got 20 more minutes if I want to come under 2 hours. I think I can make it. Still available, that Cam asking for a friend. I'm sure if you went on eBay, you could find somebody. Have you ever heard of Howard Hughes Public Airline Jets, Hughes Airlines, the Flying Bananas? No, I have not heard of those. I'm not sure if I would have, but still, yeah. I was 9 years old in 1998. I don't know. It just seems like that should have been lore across the. The internet loves stuff like this. It totally should have been lore. Creep tech nerds have the upper hand. I mean, if this tech could accidentally be produced in '98, then these facial recognition cameras, or at least these infrared cameras, totally should have been out by then. I mean, if it was a commercially available Walmart style item. I only remember the X-ray glasses ads on the back of comics. Yeah, but that was fake though. They couldn't really do it. You have found your own Twilight Zone crossing. I don't know. It just seems like this week it's just like extra hard to. I have this friend. He's always been like this. He just spaces out. He gets in his own world when he's doing projects. And that little part of your brain that kind of keep tracks of the rest of the world just isn't like, it doesn't stay on when he's in his doing his stuff. And so he'll work on stuff for hours and have no sense of time. And I've gotten like that. It's gotten so hard to multitask it all. It's just like I get all into one thought, and it's like I'm kind of whipping myself, don't forget you got to go do this at 3 o'clock. Don't, it never used to be so hard. Stay away from the shrooms. Haven't touched them. I have not touched any kind of drug in like years. I can't afford to at this point, I'm telling you. I mean, I take like aspirin and stuff, but I mean, no funsy ones. I can't afford to lose any more brain cells. I don't need them. I don't do good with anything sedative anyway, so I used to play around with a little bit of the milder sedative things in college, and I was fine then. I liked it. Not enough to do it all the time, but once in a while was fun. The last years, I'm like, nope. I need to stay. I need to try to keep my left brain functioning as much as possible. The last thing I need to do is hamstring that. Emmy is turning everything into a cartoon version. Definitely, I believe like it's the stereotypes and it's just getting wackier and wackier. That would hurt. Yeah, you're right, Nobleness. Those are big sharks too. Can you imagine? I mean, that's way bigger than a kangaroo tail. That would I mean, there should be stories of people getting killed or something. You've got these fishermen with these tails. If that can make a shock wave and it's like 8 feet long, I mean, isn't it dangerous to even, now that you mention it, I hadn't really looked up I hadn't looked up those photos till just now of the fishermen, and I didn't realize how big they'd gotten because I don't remember them being that big a shark. But there should be like legends of the dangers of catching a thresher shark, because if you haul that thing up and it's still alive and it can do that with its tail, and that tail looks really wiggly. I mean, so even if you're like over here, you wouldn't be safe. I mean, it could slap that thing around anywhere. There was only one flying fish before. Everything jumps out now. I mean, like I was complaining years ago, early on when I learned of the ME, one of the first MEs in the first days that I discovered myself versus just going online and reading about all these million MEs was the what are those fish? The manta rays jumping. The manta rays all jump like I mean, it's ridiculous how they jump. And I saw that. That was one of the first days. I'm like, manta rays didn't jump out of the water. Everything jumps out of the water now. There's a place somewhere on the web that shows the ones granted so far and how much money is left out of the total amount. I don't know. There's different grants though, so I don't know if that one would show all of the grants. Because that EIDL thing looks like it was an existing fund before too. And they've just upgraded it to allow additional kinds of loans. Forgivable loans. They're not loans. They're forgivable, not, you don't have to refund them loans. It's kind of, the whole terminology is a little flippy floppy. Can't find Kodak color, only Kodacolor. Yeah, I do remember Kodak color. Kodak color. I don't remember Kodacolor. Kodak color. I do remember that. For us that are a tad bit older. Boost brain cells. I don't know. You know what? No, nothing that is a sedative boosts my brain cells. And it's not that they're gone. I have times of the day when suddenly I'm really sharp for a while. So they're not completely gone, but it's like they just really have trouble booting up or something. Boiling frogs remembers the accidental X-ray camcorders. I can't believe I didn't know about that. I really can't. My only addiction in all my life is iced coffee. Stop laughing. I have feelings. Well, I mean, really? You think you're the only one that's a coffee addict? You don't get out much. Maybe the only difference is yours is iced coffee, but... What is Mercury the god of? It better be war. Mercury is the god of... He's not the god of war anymore? The Mercury. Mercury is the god of... Oh, it's speed? Really? I remember it being war. War. Mercury was the Roman god of commerce. Often served as a mediator between the gods. But what's up with the mercurial temper and stuff? Roman god of war. Okay, so who's god of war? Who's the god of war then, dudes? Mars. Mars was the god of war. I don't know about that one. The shockwave theme is so impossible we would have heard about it a long time ago. Mercury is Hermes. I do remember Hermes being like that, the speed messenger god. Mercury being the patron of god of health. What is it, different in every timeline? I don't know. Wasn't the god of war Aries? Aries. Well, there's Greeks and there's Romans, so that might be part of the confusion. Aries, god of war. I thought it had an I in it. Where's the I in Aries? It's Ares now. Isn't that wrong? I swear Ares does not look right. Ares, god of war, is the Greek god of war. Okay, so we were talking Roman gods, now we're talking Greek gods. I don't remember it being Ares, though. I thought there was an I in there. God, these are all, these are all ones I can't say 100%. My Greek and Roman gods, I'm a little, I don't know. I'm not 100%, but Mercury and Aries. Okay, so who remembers it being Ares? Ares. Damien's off. Good night, good night. What is also the spelling of Aries? Yeah, who remembers an I in Aries? Aries. Okay, what? We got 1 and 1. Aries, Aries, Aries. All right, looks like the I's are winning the show. I just think if it was Ares, I would think it was Ares. It looks like R's. Ares. Ares is a thing. Hades. Okay, that's hell. Yeah, see? Most people remember Aries. Aries goddess. Who is the goddess of Aries? Who is the goddess of Aries? Is Aries related to Aries? The ram Aries has nothing to do with the god Eris. The ram Aries has nothing to do with the god Aries. So, but then, okay, so they're spelling it two ways here. The way we remember and then without it. Yeah, when I type in Aries, despite the fact that they are both based on Greek mythology that share the same name, Ares myths are essentially the same myths of Mars and Roman mythology. All right, I think okay, that's a superpower wiki. It's some kind of fandom thing. All right, so that's unrelated. Okay, I don't know. Sometimes your brain just is like, psh, I quit. Emmy has gotten to the gods. Well, the ones I knew, there's a lot of changes in. I actually was certain areas of Buddhism I knew fairly well, and those have really changed. They're all scrambly now. I don't even want to look at them. It's too confusing. Emmys go through everything. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. All right. I've only got one left, and it is the one that I have to say very carefully in case I ever want to monetize my channel. This is the funny one of the week, though. Okay, so. All right, you've heard of Spider-Man. He got bit by a spider and he turned into like a superhero. But now there's a spider that if it bites you, what does it do to you? I'm not even going to show you the spider, so you don't have to look at the creepy spider, okay? Because what's funny about this spider is not how it looks. What does it do to you? Can you guess what is the side effect of this spider? When it bites you, besides that it hurts, okay, yes, it hurts, but so the doctors are saying that if anybody gets bit by this spider, they can tell that it was this specific spider by this symptom. So just think of this reality and what it likes, and see if you can guess what the symptom of that spider bite is. Shari. It's a good guess. It's a good guess. It's good class. You turned gay. Nope, it's not that. But remember the doctors have to be able to look at you and know. And it might be a little hard unless you started lisping or something. It gives you the CV. That's a good guess. It's not well, it could be called a superpower or it might not be. That's kind of a gray area right there. Yeah, the CV. That's a good one. Like them spiders. It's called the wandering spider. Okay. It's only slightly related to what it does to you. I'm not sure why. Zombie. Oh, that's a good one. Okay. Okay. Well, that's a good one. You guys, you grow a wart? Nope. These are great. I'm so glad I asked you guys. I'm so glad you haven't got it yet. But you're all right. Shari is the closest one just because of the general subject matter. So I'll give you that hint. she's 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 heading in the general right direction. You know, when I saw this, I was thinking, held for review. You don't actually turn into Spider-Man. Okay, so you know, like it was actually like 20 years ago. It was one of those things like, oh, we can't cut down the rainforest because there'll be all these amazing medicines that we'll be losing that were hidden in the natural wildlife of the rainforest. And this is one of those ones where like I wondered if we oh, nobleness, you're very close now. You're very close. It it is a substitute, okay? It could be a very well money-making substitute for Viagra. It causes you to have a telltale symptom of that. So you show up in the hospital and you're in pain and you got bit by something and you got that. And so obviously the doctors are like, "Oh, we know what bit you because look, yes, Eric got it. There it is. Because who would have that when they're in pain after getting bit by a spider? Only very few strange people would, unless it was the spider. So, and they call it the wandering spider. I'm like, isn't that just another one of those funny names? It's not permanent though. It goes away. So they have taken this spider toxin and they have isolated the substance that causes the effect. That would be the woodland spider. That would be a very good name for it. But it's the wandering spider. Maybe. So they've actually already isolated the toxin, and they don't understand exactly how it works, but they have figured out that it increases nitric oxide in the body, and nitric oxide has an effect of opening certain blood vessels and loosening certain muscle in that one region. So it works as a Viagra, basically. They've already got it. They're already working on it, supposedly, in the current timeline. I don't know. I just thought it was ridiculous because it is just so like this timeline. I just saw this. But it's not permanent. That would really not be so great. So, yes, we can't cut down the... You know, they said that they were about to cut down the jungles for, like, the last 30 years. And I look at the images over like Africa and South America, and there's all still full of jungles, whatever. I mean, maybe the trees are smaller, but now that I think about it, you know, they're going to cut down the whole rainforest thing. Do you know how fast the freaking rainforest grows? I mean, we who live in California have trouble comprehending, but when I visited Guam, I mean, you have to cut back that forest every week because if you like screw off for a couple of months, your whole yard is gone because that thing is like ching, ching, ching. It grows back. You could cut that whole yard down and next year it'll look like you never did anything. So yeah, maybe that's part of it, but that fear porn has never come to pass and now we have the Viagra spiders Can the spider fly out of the water yet? Well, we've got those fishing spiders that can catch fish, and the fish are bigger than the spider, and then they can make like these like they use leaves to trap water and then they to trap air, and then they take the leaves down with their air bubbles so they can swim. And I mean, spiders are smarter than people now. So yeah, that particular one, not yet, but who knows? Hey, look, honey, I'm sorry it was the spider. I was just minding my own business. I don't know. Yes, the spider can walk on water. Yeah, but now they can walk underwater, swim in water, go down and get fish and all that. And they can catch fish like 5 times bigger than them and haul them on land, and they eat fish. And they eat little birds. They eat snakes. Spiders catch and eat snakes now, or at least they suck their blood. So, yeah, spiders, they're a lot more creepy. Oh, and they're a lot bigger, too. A lot bigger. Yes, blame the spider. I was not having bad thoughts because of you. The spider made me do it. Just so indicative of this timeline. And we are right at like 2 hours. So it's time for me to go. Thank you guys all. You came up with a ton of great stuff. I would have been done in an hour if it wasn't for you guys. Now, how the heck do I log out of this? If this started. How do I log out? Edit video, no. I used to know how to do this, didn't I? Oh, this game again. What if they bite a woman? Yeah, I don't know. I think it just hurts. Oh, there was the button. Did I make it? I don't think I made it. I'll go back. Maybe I did. If I did, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't. Okay. So, thank you all for coming. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.